our last speaker is Mr. Joseph Zulu. And so Joseph Taonga Zulu is a creative enthusiast with a passion for storytelling and systems management through design and technology. With a diploma in theology and certifications in IT networking, he has developed a unique blend of skills as the leader of Elta Creatives, a creative agency in Zambia. He helps brands and positions startups and established entities in the market space. He also serves as a part-time lecturer in the IT section at the University of Zambia. By combining technical expertise with creative vision, Joseph aims to make a meaningful impact through design and technology, bringing ideas to life and helping clients succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Taonga Joseph Zulu. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate. But just want to confirm, can you hear me and can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's been great hearing from from others. I've learned so much, and there's so much that I didn't know. So many career options out there. Yeah, so I'll jump right in. I'm a web developer and digital marketer, as introduced. And fun fact, Walu is actually my young sister. So thank you so much, Walu, for trusting that I won't mess this up. So a little bit about me. I am based in Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia. I am a husband to one wife. I own 2 dogs, and I'm a passionate coffee lover. I also love a good conversation. What inspired me to get into this space? I've always been a curious person. When we were younger, I remember our TV wasn't working properly, you know, those old black and white TVs. And I went behind there and I tried to, you know, tweak things. I actually broke the TV. I don't think my parents know to this day that I'm the one who did that. But I've always been curious about, you know, exploring, especially creatively, my environments. How does this work? How can, you know, we make something better? So I was curious. And then in university, I was broke. You know, I needed to find a way to raise funds for basic costs and things that weren't necessarily covered by my bursary or my parents. Yeah, and also I value freedom. I think I'll talk about self-awareness later on, but for me, I love to dictate what I do with my time. And so, yes, pursuing this career path enabled me to do just that. I also love storytelling. I'm passionate about that. I think I learn better through stories, however they are crafted, whether it's you know, actual audio stories, whether it's a movie. Storytelling is what, you know, generally is my best learning style. So I also love to deliver learning that way. So that's a little bit about me. I'm running a creative agency called Elta Creatives, and also, as mentioned in the intro, I'm a part-time lecturer at the University of Zambia for their ICT section. And I'm also I'm a Christian, passionate about ministry, youth ministry in particular. Yeah, a little bit of my journey, my education background. When I was asked to do this, I was actually hesitant because I was like, man, I don't exactly have, you know, I don't have a very strong CV when it comes to my educational background for a reason. So I started out studying computer science because I felt that it was going to match up with what I was passionate about. But by second year, it really wasn't working. It was a science and not so much of a creative course. And that was like, I had so many internal battles, and I decided to change my path. So I dropped out of university, joined Bible school in an effort to discover what exactly my calling was, and also just to rediscover myself. What exactly did I want to do with my life? So anyway, during and after Bible school, I decided to teach myself web design. So like I mentioned earlier, I needed to make some money. And I was like, what can I do to make money with zero capital? And I Googled, and one of the things was, well, you can create a website. And yeah, so I decided to jump into that. So I did web design and a bit of graphics design as well. My first client was an uncle who trusted me to build his, startup website. And yeah, and he paid me, and I was like, okay, I can actually do this. Then I did a short internship with a friend, and then I had gained some skills at that point. I was hired to work for a church as a junior graphics designer. From there, I was hired by an NPO, a nonprofit organization, to lead their branding, but to also just manage the organization overall. I worked there for about 5 years. Yeah, and eventually, about 2 years ago, I decided to jump full-time into Elta Creatives, which is what I'm doing now. I work from home and I work with freelancers, mostly remotely. Um, Understanding the creative industry, my day, I wake up, like I said, I work from home. So I wake up, I make coffee. I love coffee. I always have my coffee next to me. I take a meditative walk. I work on at least one creative task for the early hours of every day. And then after that, I'll usually take a short break, watch something, and then later on work on any admin tasks. And yeah, beyond that, I plan and delegate my other tasks. That is, like I mentioned earlier, I work with other creatives remotely. So for the most part, I delegate what I cannot handle. Um, the key functions of what I do UI and UX design, which is basically I design stuff. If you open a website or a mobile app and how it looks or how you interact with it, that's UI and UX. So I do that kind of stuff. I do brand design and management. So logos, posters, flyers, all that stuff, social media artwork, as well as ensuring brand consistency across an organization's design assets. I do content and user analytics. So when we put up a website, or if we're managing a social media platform, we assess what's working, what's not working, how many people are actually following this stuff, or is anybody actually engaging with this stuff, and we give a report to our clients as well as recommendations. I do content optimization. An example of that would be search engine optimization, where to ensure that your website is actually really appearing in Google searches, we have to ensure that we put in the right keywords, we ensure the load speed is correct, and stuff like that, all the technical jargon. And then client management. So I talk to my clients almost on a daily basis. That's probably one of the biggest aspects of what I do, because we depend on constant feedback for us to be able to implement what we actually implement. Misconceptions about my field. The first misconception is that it's not a real job. I remember it was really difficult for mom to accept my change of career path into, a hustle mode. So there was a time I visited home and I was working all night on a website. And then she was like, so this is actually a real job. I was like, yeah, mama, it's a real job. So this is a real job. You get to work from home, but it is a job. You don't need to be a nerd to be in this field. Like I said, I work with other creators. I'm not the most technical person. My colleagues are more technical than I am. So yeah, so that's the other myth I need to just be thinking in code. Nah, you don't need to be that. The other myth or misconception is that design skills are enough. As long as I know how to design, that's it. That's all I need. But no, you need interpersonal skills. You need communication skills. You need to learn to deal with difficult people. That's a very key part of the job. And then the last misconception is that being your own boss is doing whatever you want. I can tell you that it's absolutely not. It's about designing systems that help you do the work that you need to do consistently. Skills that you need are, for the most part here, I'm going to list mostly take soft skills. So creativity is a must. You know, you need to have a curious mind. Like I mentioned earlier on, I've always been curious. So if you're a creative person, you're always thinking about how to make things better, how to make things more fun or easier to use, more beautiful. That's key. Communication skills. You're dealing with people, and people give you feedback. So you need to learn to listen, and you also need to learn to communicate in a way that's easy to understand, and also in a way that your client actually appreciates what you're doing. Problem solving skills are probably for the bulk of these, especially web design. You're gonna encounter bugs, you have things not working, you have glitches, you have hackers, you have so many issues that will pop up. So you really need to be on top of your game in terms of problem solving. So you need to be somebody who thinks not just about beautiful design, but somebody who's actually okay to handle with the aftermath of launching your product. Technical skills, that's obvious. You need to obviously learn a bit of coding. If you don't want to learn coding, there's so many ways to get around that. Work with coders. You need to learn how to design. You need to acquire the relevant technical skills depending on the area that you want to specialize in and your model of operation. Adaptability. We're living in a world that's technologically advancing at a very, very quick rate. Probably in the next 2 months, some things I might be sharing here will be obsolete. So we need to learn to adapt so quickly. And one of my favorite quotes or statements is that design is not a one-shot masterpiece. It's a dance between idea, feedback, and evolution. So it's not just about creating something and it's amazing the first time. You keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, and you need to enjoy that journey. Challenges and realities of this industry. Challenges, fear of failure. The creative industry is it's creative. It's an open book, and you get a lot of criticism. A lot of times, you're working with a lot of novelty. So the industry, the field itself, especially in Zambia, is very it's very new. We're still considered as hustlers for the most part. So people are afraid of failing, whether it's not delivering a great project in the client's eyes, or not having clients and you're broke and you can't pay your rent. That's a real fear. Balancing many roles, especially if you're starting out. Right now, my company is a startup. I still handle my own. I still do the invoicing. I still do the client queries for the most part. I still have to file in my government dues, taxes, and all that stuff. So it can be very tasking when you're balancing so many roles. And then perfectionism. As creatives and designers, sometimes you're tempted to you are tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, and before you know it, the day has gone by, a week has gone by, and you haven't made progress on other projects. Evolving technology, I've already talked about that. We're in the AI era. Things are changing rapidly. So those are some challenges. And then when it comes to stress and pressure, how I've learned to deal with that is by realizing that less is more. I highlighted that my day starts with one of the things I do in a day is I design something. I work on one creative task. I used to have a list. I would have a list of 10 things, and I'm going to tick this off and tick this off and tick this off until I learned and realized I really practically can't do that. It's either I'll end up with a shoddy job, or I will try to cram everything and I won't manage, and I would have overpromised clients, and then I will delay on deadlines, and then clients would be upset, and then I'll be depressed. So that was a lot of pressure. And I realized for myself, I can only work on one creative project a day. Anything else, I have to delegate. So delegation is key. No is a beautiful word. I've had to learn to say no to clients because I don't have the capacity to handle something in the moment. So if I don't have the capacity, I'd rather say no or probably recommend somebody else. progress and not perfection. Keep learning, keep growing. It's a journey. And so I've had to learn that on my journey. Otherwise, with perfection, you probably will never even get started if that's what's constantly at the top of your mind. I wish I knew that you don't have to have it all figured out and failure is part of the journey. I was, there were moments when I was so afraid of failure, but now I've learned you actually need to fail in order to learn. Fail early, fail quick, adapt, and then start again. Career growth and opportunities. You can be a freelance designer. You can be an agency designer. Like the guys that work for me essentially are agency designers because they're working for an agency. Well, they're also doing their own stuff. You can be an in-house designer. I was working for a church. I was working in the, creative department. You can be an entrepreneur. Essentially, I am an entrepreneur. You can be a content creator. You can choose a particular niche to go maybe build websites around that particular niche. You can be a UX UI designer. Now that's becoming a huge thing where maybe your specialty is I'll be designing interfaces for mobile apps. You can be a web developer primarily. You can be a product designer. You're working for Coca-Cola or maybe not Coca-Cola, but Nike, for instance, and you're designing shoes and you're that kind of stuff. So the opportunities are vast, and with a changing technological world, there's so much that you can do in these spaces. Trends, artificial intelligence, I've already mentioned that. Virtual reality design also is becoming a huge thing now. So those are some things to jump on. Earlier on, the speakers did talk about, a bunch of the speakers talked about artificial intelligence and how we need to actually embrace it. I've embraced artificial intelligence as a more like as an assistant, so that I can streamline my design workflows. Getting started, I used YouTube tutorials. There's also another site called bringyourownlaptop.com. You can go there. There's a bunch of courses. Some are free, some are paid for. LinkedIn Learning is another absolutely amazing resource. And traditional universities. A lot of universities are now embracing creativity. And I think there's a bunch of universities in South Africa now, even back in the day. Zambia only has a few now that have courses in this particular space. Advice to students, and you just finished your high school, or you're about to finish, or you are, or even if you're not a student, start where you are. I had to start where I was with what I had. I had a laptop and Google, and that's it. And I started there. Be self-aware, know who you are. I had to learn who I was. I had to drop out of school when I realized my brain isn't a very scientific brain as much as it is a creative brain. I couldn't just continue down that path. Life is too short. So be self-aware, know who you are. But then that comes through trial and error. That comes through trying and failing. So maybe try quickly and fail quickly so that you can move on quickly. Stay curious. Do not fear change. Nurture relationships. I'll tell you this, 80% of my client base came through recommendations. I barely advertise, though I think I probably need to start now. I barely advertise, whether it's socials or my website, or I don't so much push for projects. The last probably 7 to 8 years of my operations have literally been referrals. I worked on this client's work and this client and this, and so on and so forth. I have, we now have about 4 clients that are on retainer basis. And what that means is we sign annual contracts and then they do monthly payments for us to provide them like a full bouquet of digital marketing services. And all those came through recommendations. So nurture relationships. Just be nice to everybody. Be curious, listen, love people, and you never know what happens. Most of these referrals were not even necessarily from pros or professionals. It was like a friend or, a family, a friend who's working in a particular space. A friend of mine who works in the conservation space here in Zambia was like, hey, they're looking for a graphics designer in our department. I don't know if you're interested. And I applied, and that's one of our biggest clients. So just be a good person to everybody. And remember, you have full permission to fail, because if you do not fail, you won't learn. Some resources, some action points. You can intern with us if you are looking to intern. Like I said, I work with mostly remote designers. So if that's something you're interested in, you can send us an email and see how we can work together. There's a career test on careerexplorer.com. That's something else. You can probably go there and like, I don't exactly know which way to go. That may be a starting point. If you're a creative like me, you can go to mycreativetype.com to find out what kind of creative you actually are. Thank you so much. And that's all I had for you today. Thank you for the opportunity. I don't know if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Taonga, for not messing it up. I'm joking. Thank you so much. That is such a beautiful and amazing presentation. Oh, thank you so much. I'm just gonna quickly check the chat box for any questions. Okay, we don't have any questions. In the chat box as of yet, but I have a question. um how did you get to navigate like the challenges, like the challenges along the way of the twists and the turns, like especially from with the pressures from society, the pressures from home, as you go to like go through like the different turns, having to drop out of school. How did you get to like navigate that whole journey to where you are right now, where people are telling you this is what you're supposed to do? You have family at your back, also you have your own dreams and feeling like you've failed in life. How did you get to navigate all of that, and how did you get to stand on whatever you believed you were capable of doing up until this far?
All right. Yeah, no, thank you, Alu. Thanks for that question. So I think two things off the top of my head. Number one, I had to, I had a, a support system, an alternative support system. Now, remember, most of the pressure, especially when I was dropping out of uni and changing careers and everything, most of the pressure was coming from people who love me, because I mean, they didn't want me to end up destitute. So that was highly stressful. But I needed a support system, an alternative support system. So I had friends. One of my mentors actually went through kind of a similar journey. I was in constant touch with him. I had another friend who I constantly vented, like was able to express myself to. And those people were there for me when close family and friends couldn't. Now, this is not to demonize family and friends. It's very understandable. I think if my child today popped up and said, "Oh, I want to be an influencer," I'll be like, "Huh?" Just, that's a very, it's shocking. So when my family and friends couldn't be there for me, I had to find an alternative support system. Otherwise, I was going to go crazy. So the alternative support system held me on up until family and friends eventually were like, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't know if they've accepted or they are just like, yeah, whatever. He's not dead. Yeah, but that helped. But secondly, conviction. I think there is power in conviction. So conviction essentially informs you of who you really are and what you are wired for. And it's very uncomfortable to work outside that. So for me, the pain of working outside my conviction, I did in uni, trust me, I tried. I was like, let me just stick this out. But it was too painful. And I had to choose something that was, I guess, less painful, which was walking in the path of my conviction. I had to think to myself, 10 years, 20 years from now, if I go down this path, I'm going to be miserable. But if I go down this other path, I might fail, but I have a chance to fall back on this thing. I would rather find out after failing that I can fall back on this thing than not try at all. So yeah, so I guess the conviction itself, the power of that conviction held me strong. So support system and conviction.
Thank you so much, Taonga. I think I saw something on your bio which relates to you being a part-time lecturer. So I just wanted to know, how did you get to like what's this? How did you get into that sector, or get into like the lecturing part of your career?
Okay. Yeah. So, I used to get, like I said, towards the end of these referrals. So it was a referral. So I had a friend. Um, my first My second client, actually. My second client, his name is Dario Changolo. I designed a free website for him and told him, hey, I'm starting out and I would like to make my mistakes on you. He was like, all right, that's cool. So I designed his website, and somebody else, a mutual friend, a friend of his, saw that work and was like, who did this website for you? And he mentioned it was me. And that person happens to be part of the faculty at the University of Zambia. So he approached me and he asked me to teach him something in graphics design. I did that. He asked me to teach another colleague of his. I did that. And then he was like, hey, oh, we're actually looking for a part-time lecturer in digital marketing. Would you be interested? I was like, all right, sure, cool. And that's how I got the gig.
Thank you so much, Taonga. Thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. I think from your presentation, what I'm getting also is that sometimes the journey is not straight. You don't even know where you're gonna end up. Also,
Yeah.
personally, and it's okay. Like it's okay to allow every step that you take to lead you into something new and possibly something better that you never even knew that you were capable of yourself. And I think your story is testament to that, and also to so many people who might be on paths that they don't even like right now. They're trying or attempting to skip or attempting to deviate, but then there's just so much fear of uncertainty attached to it. So your story was really inspirational, and your journey is remarkable. So thank you so much for being a part of today's fair, and we wish you the best on your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.